Dreams on a high, if someone's higher in awareness, then when you're dreaming, you're jumping into an altar. That's why sometimes you'll go to the same place, see similar people, or you may not recognize the people visually, but you'll recognize them energetically. And you're like, yo, how do I know you? I know you. And you don't know how you know them. Yeah, so I agree. Yeah.
All right. Next question. Is time speeding up?
That's relative to your vibration. And I get that from Dr. Deborah Blair. Because I asked him one day, I was like, because I asked him one day, I was like, everything just seems faster. He was like, it depends on where you are on that funnel. You know what I mean? Are you in the center or are you on the outside? Yeah. If you're experiencing quickening, it just means that everything's becoming more and more tangible in the higher field. So it may make you feel like everything is speeding up. It's your perspective. That will stop when you match it. So when you reach the tier where that when you match that vibratory frequency, then you won't get that speeding up. You'll just match the same speed.
Okay, next question. Who are in the Black Triangle ships?
Good question. Well, there's the ones who have the colored lights. That is, I connect that to the Anunnaki, the triangular ships. Those are the ones that you see. A lot of times you see them over Egypt. You see them outside of Africa. You see them sometimes in South America. Those are generally, but you got to be careful because Willy Wonka and his League of Doom have, they have, hijacked technology and have reverse engineered ships that look similar to that one. So you have to look at the lights. And I've only known that when you see the magnetic lights, the different colors, it means a magnetic energy that's more cohesive, they're more positive. When it's white lights, I'm most likely thinking it's geoengineered from the government.
Okay, next question. Where's that scene? Where's it at? This chat moving so fast. Wow, I know y'all having a good time. But I seen a question I really like. Damn, where did it go?
Party in the chat. Go ahead, chat.
It's a party. They having a good time. Damn, I seen a question I really liked. Where is it? Well, I'm sorry, I can't find your question, but someone in the chat asks, are buildings built over portals to purposely hide or cloak them?
Go ahead. Whoever asked that question, you're one of us. Come on over to the other side. Yes. Ding, 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 ding. Yes. Not all the time, not every building, but a lot of pinnacle buildings, governmental buildings, churches, cathedrals, they're generally built on power points. Whether they're geometrically sound where they pull in energy or they're masking portals or stargates. Yes.
Okay, next question.
I like your statue with the mic. That's cool.
Oh, the Buddha. Yeah.
I just saw that. That's cool.
Yeah, thank you. That's my homie right there. That's my homie.
I was going to say something else, but I behaved.
Does the creator interfere in the affairs of man?
I mean, it depends on his perspective. Aren't you the creator? Aren't you both? So it depends on what you perceive. We're the creators. If you perceive yourself as the creator, the oversoul, then you are helping or assisting or even what you would consider to be interfering with maybe your ideology or your avatar here. So I think in itself, the creator and the man are one and the same. It depends on your perspective. If you see yourself outside of the creator, then I think if you see yourself as a victim of the affairs of the higher realms, then yes.
This is an interesting one. How can a person vibrate higher if they are considered mentally retarded?
Well, who gave them that label? Let's take out the label number one. That label in itself was meant to stamp someone with a physical limitation that would be perpetuated by people's judgment of it. So let's take that out. And absolutely not. It may limit their ability to convey their feelings or the things that they know or perceive in this reality, but it doesn't denote the frequency that they're able to emit or raise to.
Okay. Let's get to another question. Best way to spiritually protect oneself in this firmament.
Staying out of the ish, stay out of the beef. You know what I mean? If you involved in, if you're always in lured or connected to things that are lower vibrationally, music, food, sexual behavior, engaging in drugs that lower your frequency, the wine and spirits, be careful with the Hennessy, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be careful. If you are consciously trying to protect yourself, your behavior is the number one way you can do so. What you do is what you attract. So just like, let's say somebody's about to attack you. It's like a witch and a warlock. There's like, I don't like you because you're wearing purple sneakers on a Tuesday, and they try and attack you. They aren't able, they can throw the dagger, but it will miss you if you aren't matching that vibration. So the higher up you are, the harder it is for somebody to hit you. It's like a tree that's growing. The first time a tree grows, it's low. All the weeds are trying to kill off the tree. The tree can barely stay up. Then the tree gets a little stronger. The roots get more settled, and the part of the tree, the trunk, gets a little more sturdy. Then the weeds are still trying to get at it, but then there's a point where the tree gets so tall and high, they ain't a weed that can grow within proximity.
Okay. Let's get to the next question. Somebody asked your thoughts on Jesus. I can't find the question, but they want to know your thoughts on Jesus.
I think Jesus in itself is a wonderful construct of a being, regardless if it's real or not. I think if that being existed, first of all, if the being existed, I think it would be female, just to be able to go above and be so loving and nurturing and honoring and forgiving, because it's a very female quality. And at the time where this being called Jesus existed, even when you see the 12 apostles, you see Mary Magdalene. I would think that was Jesus. And it's kind of like when you ever see like the comedic figures and they take off the nose or something, they kind of whitewash something. I think they do the same with women. They give men credit for what women did, and they kind of switch it. So if the character existed, if she or he existed, I think that's a beautiful, being. I personally think that is a story that's meant to illuminate people or make them act in higher ways, and also make them feel guilty for the sins of the world. It's a little bit of that too. So
yeah, a sister named Vicky Dillard, she came on here and she said the same thing about erasing history and taking away the woman's achievement and making it a man's achievement. Yeah, and we were talking about the whole Jesus thing, because Rod Hayes said that whole Jesus story comes from Isis. He was breaking down how it's not really Osiris, it's Isis.
They kind of cloak her. They cloak her.
Yeah. Very, very, very interesting. Yeah. All right, we having a good time here tonight, y'all. I'm gonna take a few more questions, and then we're gonna get out of here. Before the end of the show, though, is there any information you want to tell the people, like as far as contact info, websites, events, products, services, anything?
Services. No, you can come check me out at Fleur Brun. I do have the Patreon. We call ourselves the Zombies. We're on there Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, working our way out the firmament. I mean, it's a lot of information. We're healing sages. So we about that life. I'm part of the galactic sector, so I know women from all different, and men too, from all different backgrounds and so on. It's a beautiful connective. So you can join us on Patreon. You can join us on Zoom. Like I said, we're on all night. Sometimes we don't get sleep. It's like a forever slumber party. And you can just check out my channel on Fleur Brun. Yeah.
And let's get to a super chat question. Can we travel to Mars through the ocean?
Yes. If you can get around the firmament. Yes. Mars is, and there's a little bleed over of Mars, I think, in Arizona. I think sometimes they open up these vortexes and they aren't able to close it, so it bleeds over like a jump room. I think Arizona Sedona has a little bit of that bleed over, because when you go to Sedona, it feels like Mars. Even a perception of Mars, it feels like it. So that red dirt, that feeling, that energy, And a lot of it's a portal. So I think, yes, you can go under the water if you can get out of the firmament. But again, a reset, a lot of these portals open. If you qualify for those portals, you can access them.
That's why I'm glad to have you on here. You say a lot of interesting things. You say Arizona is a bleed over of Mars.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very,
When you
very
go over there, I met a Martian.
Mm.
Yeah. It's really groovy. I always say also, for anyone who's having troubles getting over trauma, or they've been hurt, or someone, or it's hard for them, they're sad or they're grieving. When you go to Sedona, there's these rock beings that absorb your sadness and anger. So it's by default, it's their food, it's their loosh. So when you go over there, you'll notice when you go over there, you feel better because they're eating your problems. But don't stay too long, because if you don't have problems, they'll create them. So I always say, if you have someone who's having troubles getting over some pain or something, and I don't see enough melanated people going over there, go over to Sedona. It's beautiful. And they have this wonderful vegan place where they have like this honey tea that's in this wonderful copper cup. It's what it's called, chocolate something. It's so good. It's all raw, fresh. Go over to Sedona. Go clear yourself. If you broke up with a boyfriend, you feel sad, go there. If you have a girlfriend and her butt got smaller, go there. Okay? Enjoy yourself.
Okay, next question. Are there people who live in underground cities?
Yes. Yeah, in different tiers. And there's different layers, like an onion, to this dome. And even though it seems like a flat surface, there's layers beneath it. So there's different tiers. There's grays living under there, insectoids like ant-like beings living under there. The ones with the big noses that are connected to the Malachians, they're living under there. There's a lot of beings living underneath the ground. And there's a lot of underground cities that, Queen Elizabeth the lizard had created so they can get back and forth without you knowing. Yeah.
Where would she go back and forth? Where would Queen?
To Denver. Look at the Denver airport murals. There was a direct line from the railroad underneath going straight from the UK to Denver airport. Denver has, anybody who hasn't seen the Denver airport murals, that is a testimony of what happens during the reset. And it's sick. By the baggage claim, you can see it. So they go back and forth underneath the ground. She would do it to travel with, anonymity, and also, unfortunately, that's how they're able to traffic, certain people and children.
Is she one of the people who you would consider a lifetime looper?
Yeah. She hasn't transitioned. She's just changed into a melanated body. Surely.
She changed into a melanated body?
Because that's the next after reset. Those are who are back into power. That's why you see the power structure change, where lunars are being suppressed and vilified, and now you're going to see the illumination of the melanated ones again.
Wow. Next question. What role does twin flames play during this reset?
Well, I love that question. Actually, during the time before the reset, it allows for, because really you have to match a certain vibratory frequency to be able to be raptured or kind of do an exodus, if that's what you desired or you were even qualified to do. But when you're able, this is what I've heard, is that right before reset, a lot of people who have same energetic, like splintered from the same flame, they meet up at that time, because love is the biggest initiator into higher fields of consciousness. So you ever feel love and you're like, everything could be burning outside the house. You're like, I don't care. I love you. Everything about you. I love the way you look, the way you taste. I love you. That is a higher vibration. And when you're able to twin right before, even during what would be perceived as chaos, it actually initiates you into higher forms of awareness and consciousness. And it actually activates you both to be able to leave.
That's interesting. We spend so much time reading books, and we don't realize how important things like love is, loving one another and being in relationships and things like that.
It's the best thing. It's the most amazing feeling to love a being and have trust in them and them in you. And that love is an initiator. I mean, that's why I say to the young women, it's very important for you to only engage with a male, and males for you too, with a woman who loves you. Because that in itself is an illuminator, and it actually helps to heal the body. when your wand initiates her yoni, you actually can heal her. Like if she has something going on health-wise and vice versa. So if you're healthy and you have love, love is a high vibration. There isn't anything that matches it. That's why they're breaking up the relationships, because that is the highest form of initiation, is to love. And how many people do you know that are in love right now? It's rare. Okay. Yeah. But that love is what will heal you, help you, and raise your frequency. So I always say for males, for sun stars and sea stars, try to just qualify people for love. Do they love you for who you are? When you wake up in the rising and he sees you fresh faced, does he love you? Does he care when you're not feeling well and thinks about bringing you some soup? Does she call you when she knows that you're disappointed, that maybe you were looking forward to something and she just knows what to say to you? You know, does she rub your feet when she knows that you're not feeling well and give you oil baths? You know, these are forms of loving interface. And we have to start doing that. If we talk about African love and Black love and all that stuff, that's what we did. We used to oil our soldiers before they went out. We used to take them and put them in the back and oil him down and tell him, listen, baby, I'm waiting for you. And I'm only waiting for you. And he knew that he was going to battle every demon so he could come home and be with us and his family. That's what we did. We don't speak about that anymore. You know, that movie, what was it, 3000 when the Mayans, so I forgot when he
300.
300, remember? And he went out there, she was pregnant, nurse, listen, she was giving birth in the water. That man, listen, he was going to go home to her. That's Black love. We need to talk about that anymore. And also, we're softer when we know that our men love us and love us fully. And to be able to have mastered multiple women, you have to be able to master one. And if you aren't able to satisfy her, mind, body, and spirit, then you shouldn't be initiating other relationships. That's why this whole, multiple relationships is funny, because a lot of the men that are qualifying that aren't able to even satisfy and please one woman, make her happy and feel safe. Because for us, when we feel safe, we love you even more.
Yeah, I'm loving this conversation. People here loving the conversation.
See, I behaved, Rich. I
appreciate it. I appreciate it. I want to have you on here on a regular, so I need you to behave all the time.
I could go left, but I'm behaving.
Oh man,
big up to New York in the house. Anybody from Malvern in New York?
Indeed. Shout out NY. 2 more questions, then we out here. Let me get to this one. Can consuming animal flesh cause you to reincarnate into that animal?
That's a good question. It places you in, because what you eat is what you are. It's kind of like you hold the vibratory frequency of that animal as well. Like that's why, Native Americans, when they hunt a deer, a buck, they would wear they go around and they dance like the buck. They would initiate, they would feel the connection to that buck. So yes, as far as natives were concerned, you could come back an eagle or a deer, but it was always connected to the higher versions of them. If that's what you were initiated to do. It's really hard for you to digress, because that's digressing into an animal. Not saying they're lower, but it's a totally different frequency. They're much more impulsive. You would have to lower you'd have to be really savage, like really like a hunter, like just killing things without thinking, just savage, to really kind of degrade your frequency to be able to activate and reincarnate into animals. People who reincarnate to animals, they've done a lot of heinous things. That's like a downgrading.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of good questions from the chat tonight. I definitely appreciate all of y'all. A lot of good. I can tell y'all really interested in the show. A lot of good questions and commentary. A lot of good commentary in the chat as well. Last question before we get out of here. A lot of talk on solar flares. What is your perspective and thoughts on solar flares?
It's energetic frequencies coming outside the firmament coming in because of the shift. It's the machinery that's working. So it sends like these waves, like these beautiful rings of energy that come down. They transform you. They change you. They activate latent DNA. That's why it's important to fast And I say to only do so if you're healthy. You know, I'm not a doctor or, you know, anything like that, but if you're healthy, because it allows for you to take full, the DNA to be fully activated without muters. Food, alcohol, drugs is all a muter. If you are able to take in that prana energy, it actually shapeshifts your cells and turns on latent cells that are meant to make you into like meta beings, super beings, where you have mastered telepathy, telekinesis, abilities to also levitate. These are abilities that aren't artificial or by super beings. They happen to you if you basically are your body is allowing the energy to transform it and upgrade it. So I personally think the solar flares help to initiate you into higher super bodies, like your biodome, to become more efficient for the times we're in.
Indeed. Let me just ask one more question, because this is a super chat, and I'm sorry, I'll be missing the super chat questions sometime. What do you think of the book that talks about the return of Anunnaki in 2022? Their final warning, is it true? They have a black goop that's supposed to wipe the earth clean.
I read the book. Thank you for that. I love it. Thank you, Shaw. That's beautiful, Flower Pot. I love your name. It's already happened. So I don't want to be, you know, it's already, the black goo has already been initiated. So the black goo is sentient, but it isn't negative or positive. And we had this discussion last night on Zoom. It's that, I don't know if anyone watched Ghostbusters. Do you remember Ghostbusters, Rich?
Yeah.
And remember like the goo, the purple goo? And remember they were playing that song, like a happy song, and the goo was like happy and bouncing around and everything like that. And then they played lower frequency music and it was like attacking people.
Yeah.
That's what the black goo is. It's sentient, but it's neutral. And it only can be initiated by the vibration that the intent it's being initiated into. So they've already initiated the black goo. This is reset. Everything gets clean, wiped slate. This whole world gets cleaned off, cleared off. It happens. We're in a loop. It happens. It's a AI system, and it's a mechanical system that goes over and over and over again. So it ends. Everything you get raptured, or you stay and you get reincarnated. Everybody's not going. People reincarnate. People are being held in like a net right now. They're not allowed to be reincarnated because we're going into reset. So now if someone transitions, they kind of get held there until reset, and then they come back and be initiated into the nether world. You know, similar pattern of ascension. Changing and evolving, and then they end it and start over again. It's a program.
Wow. Hey, what a show, family. What a show. I want to thank you for coming on the platform and joining us. I definitely look forward to having you on here again. Definitely look
Absolutely.
Forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. And thank you, everyone, for coming in tonight and joining us.
Yeah, I got a lot of emails telling me, yo, you gotta get on the show. You gotta get on the show. So it's good to have you on here. Before you get out of here, once again, tell the people about your Patreon or anything else they need to know to contact you.
You can join us. You see that we every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday we're on Patreon, working through clues. I have some of the most amazing healing sea stars and sun stars ever.